I am a die cut addict, and I have freely admit that. But we all know that dies can be expensive to purchase, especially if we only use them for one card and then put them away. Cover-size dies are especially pricey, but I fell in love with this full-size deer frame from Impression Obsessions and knew I had to make many different cards with this beauty. So it's a full-size die that cuts out a deer frame, and I knew that I had to get it the minute I saw it. Hello and welcome to Karen's Creative Cards on YouTube. I am Karen Hashik, and this die is perfect for guys cards or holiday cards or thank you cards, depending on the colors chosen and other products used. In this video, I am sharing 5 very different cards made with this new die from Impression Obsession and other favorite dies and products. I am loving this new Classic Pine Stencil set from Altenew. It has the needles and the pine cones, and it's a stencil set. And I used that on this first card that I'm sharing with you. I cut out the frame with some lightly colored paper and did a little bit of sponging, and then in the background is that beautiful pine cone stencil set. And then this word sentiment die and this one on the next card are both from a new set of dies that I got from Sue Wilson of Creative Expressions called Mix and Match Friendship. So on this one I cut a mask with the Gina Designs magic masking material, and I use this all the time whenever I'm masking. I'm going to use it in the card that I'm going to show you today. And then I did some sponging, and then when I took it off I did it with yellow, and Grateful is again from that same die set. So another very unique different card made with that same buck frame die. This one is a Christmas card, and I made this with a favorite technique with foils and Decofoils toner sheets. And of course more details on each of these cards will be on my blog and links in the description box. A friend shared a neat tip for a masculine textured background using something we all have in our houses, boxes, like those that come in the mail all the time from our favorite crafty companies. If you rip a box apart and then you rip off this top sheet, I'm not doing a good job there, but this top sheet will come off, leaving some of it on the background. As you can see, some of it's left on, and that makes a really neat textured background. We could take a little more off this part, but I did that on this card, and I like those pieces that are left on. And then I did a little sponging with some brown distress inks, and then I put the frame, the buck from that frame on this masculine card. So so far those 4 cards that I've made with the same die, and this one is the card I'm going to show you how I made in this video. It uses the pieces that are not used on that last card that I shared to form a frame. I saw a similar card years and years ago on Pinterest, and now that I finally found a die that would work for this idea, I can't find that original pin to credit that artist. But here's how you make this card. We're going to cut the Impression Obsession deer frame. I used a Tim Holtz cardstock, Craft Core, I think it's called, cardstock, to cut that out, and see how we're going to keep all those pieces that we didn't use for later on. And then we have I set this up in my Tim Holtz Tonic stamp platform. I have a piece of white cardstock, and we're going to take a pencil and we're going to mark. This piece is bigger than what I need, but I'm going to cut it down. But basically we're just going to make some marks in here where the outside of that deer is going to be, because that's where we're going to put the image that we're going to stamp. The first thing I want to do is I want to stamp the water, and that's a kitchen sink stamp. And one thing that's really nice about the Tim Holtz platform is that you have a side that is for clear and a side that is for rubber. And I'm going to be using both of those to do my stamping here. So this water scene I'm stamping with a favorite ink from Catherine Polar. And then I am going to flip it, and I should take that off because it's just going to make a mess. I now want to position this one. Let's see how I got. You did pretty good. I have put a couple marks on that stamp where the horizon line is, and I want to use a marker. This is an old Northwoods stamp, and I just want the setting sun and the clouds and a couple of the birds to be stamped. So we're going to use a marker to do that part. And if you feel you need to, of course, whenever you're using a stamp platform, you can add a little more and stamp again. And I think I'm going to do that. I think I would like the moon and the clouds to be a little more distinct. Or the sun. You know, I think it's a setting sun. Now I'm going to erase some of those lines. Although I did want to add a little more stamping, and I probably should have, but that's okay. I think we're okay. We have another flying bird stamp from Kitchen Sink Stamps, and I'm going to add a couple more. Okay. And then I have a cat tail and a weed stamp that I want. I could put a paper down. I think I want to stamp a little under it, and then I'm going to do some sponging. So there's a cat tail in the scene. And some weeds. Now I am going to do some more brushing on of color, and I did notice that sometimes there was a little smearing, especially with the marker part, so I am going to heat that real quick. And now we're going to use a mask. And as I showed you before, my favorite masking is Gina K Masking Magic. And we're just going to mask right along that water line. And I am going to use my brushes from Tailored Expressions to add a little more color in the water. So we have our water lines, but we still can add a little bit of blue color to that. And luckily we're going to cut this down a little bit because I see that it went a little where it shouldn't have gone, but that's okay. Now we're going to create the sunset scene with some yellows and oranges. And I'm going to go all the way to the sides and all the way to the top, basically, because then we're going to put the frame on. This can be reused. So we now we're going to put this deer where the most of that scene will show through the negative part of that. And then we're going to be placing these pieces down in there, so we have the frame, the negative part of the frame we're using. And then we'll take this large piece and put that in. And then or of course you could use a glue. I like the dots roller from Gina K. The adhesive goes right where it's supposed to go and makes this very easy to do, and sticks very well too, of course. So it's like a puzzle. There's a couple really tiny ones that I'm not even going to try. I'm not sure if I have enough left on there or not, so let's grab another one. So now we're going to carefully lift this part. I want the negative pieces to stay. and create that frame. And then you're going to cut away the excess. And then if you attach that on an orange and then blue card, and I had that other tape. The orange and blue cardstock, pick up on the colors in that sunset scene, and your deer frame creates the beautiful frame for that sunset scene, and I just love how that turned out. I'm leaving this card without a sentiment because it could be a birthday card or sympathy card or thinking of you. This Impression Obsession Deer frame is perfect for masculine cards, which are sometimes so hard to come up with. I had so much fun playing with this gorgeous Impression Obsession Deer frame die and other favorite card making supplies to make these cards I shared with you in this video. I hope they inspired you to take some of the ideas and try them for yourself. Thanks for watching, sharing, and subscribing, and commenting, and thanks too for helping me share the joy of creativity.